and neck, please get it, whether it's a rolled up towel or blanket, whatever it is, take care of you. Sorry, I forgot to get my towel or blanket before we start. So I have said this in the past, now I'll say it again today, and that is I'd like you to be fussy about how you are resting here. Please give yourself whatever it is that you need to relax. And that is the point of this class, right? We need to come to a place where the body knows that it's okay to relax, to restore, to recover. And when the physical body knows that it's supported, that it's safe, then all those muscles can rest. And then the heart rate can slow, and we can just come to the breath and let everything do its job. So let's find our way into a comfortable lying down position. You can bend your knees, put your feet on the mat. That is often really nice for the lower back. Let the thighs rest on each other. And arrive. And sometimes it takes a few minutes once class starts to get into the groove, and that's okay, right? We come here with the burdens of the day, of the week, whatever it is. We don't walk in by ourselves. We know that. So whatever you brought with you today, that's fine. Let's lie down on the mat. Let's bend the knees, put the feet on the mat, and let's turn to the breath. And begin to even out and lengthen the breath. And we will be working with that humming again and lengthening of the breath, the exhale again in this class. But it's a little different when you're working with restorative yoga. So if you were here in the previous class, you get to compare. Let your shoulders soften, let your jaw be soft. And we'll spend the next 2 or 3 minutes just in silence, focused on the breath. Now, wherever we are, just bring your awareness back to that space where you're practicing yoga. And we're going to bring our right palm to heart center and put the left palm on top of that. And We'll take a moment to set an intention for this practice, and it can be anything that's important to you today. And we're also keeping in mind Yola's grandson, Javier. So whatever it is that's important, we bring to the front of our minds, we bring it to the front of our hearts. And then we're going to release those hands back down by our side. Let's extend the legs long if they're bent, and let's just go long legs for a moment. And gently turn the head from one side to the other, just a little bit of movement into the head and neck. And then reach those arms long, long, long overhead. Make good morning stretch. Maybe you yawn, and then float the arms down, bend the knees one at a time, put the feet on the mat. We're going to roll to one side to make our way to seated. So take your time. Make your way first to one side. And then very slowly make your way to seated. And what we're going to do now, for me, I'm going to grab my bolster so I can sit on that because I'm much more comfortable up here. Allows me to let my spine be taller. So make your way to a comfortable seat. Could even be in the chair that you used for chair yoga, or like a soft chair, like a living room chair. So we're going to bring our attention now. Let's bring our attention to the breath. And let's do 3 rounds of that bumblebee breath. So we're going to inhale, and as we exhale, we do that hum on the exhale. Could be any tone, whatever it is. When you're ready, we'll do 3 rounds. And then you can discontinue the humming, but continue to breathe. Just notice how that feels. Notice the sensations in the head. Feel it almost in my teeth, right? The sinus cavities. And for me, it's a positive feeling of calm. Okay. So we're going to move with that a little bit later in the practice. So it won't just be sitting and humming, but we're going to move with the hum. Not in this next sequence, but when we're lying down on the floor. So don't worry, we're going to come back to it. And in the meantime, let's do a little side body stretching. We'll bring our right hand to the floor or the cushion if we're sitting on a cushion. And then we're going to take that left arm up and over, just finding that side body stretch. So wherever you feel comfortable, feeling both sitting bones on the floor, the cushion, whatever your support is, breathing into this side body. If the arm doesn't feel good like that, you can bring the hand behind the head, you can bring the fingertips to the shoulder, you can take it to a little salute, but we're working to stretch into side body. And then make your way back up to seated. Float that top arm down, let it come to the other side, either to the cushion or to the floor. Find the foundation first so that you know you're stable and safe, and then reach that other arm up and over. Breathing into that side body, just knowing how wonderful that feels. That stretch, for me, I love it. And then we're going to come all the way back to center. So the arms come down, the crown of the head reaches for the ceiling. We take a roll up and back and down with the shoulders. And then we're going to take a gentle twist to the right. Left hand outside right thigh. I'm using this hand just as a resting place here on my thigh. I'm not pushing, I'm not prying. Just resting my hand here on that thigh. Let the back shoulder come down away from the ear. Let the jaw be soft. Breathe into this gentle twist. Then we'll untwist and we'll take it the other way. So right hand outside left thigh, left hand behind you. And we're using the muscles of the body to take ourselves in the twist. And if you need to figure out if you're actually doing that, you can take it to a cactus arm and then just drop the arms down. So we know we're not crying here. Never want to force. And then let's come back to center. Roll the shoulders. We'll switch the cross of the legs. If your legs aren't crossed, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to do that same sequence again. So this time we'll start this way. Leaning over, reaching, breathing. Side body stretch. And always, when we work with this side body, stretching into the side body, bringing a little more space between the ribs, really helping the muscles of breathing. Okay, that top arm comes down, it finds its way to the floor, and we go in the other direction. And then we make our way back through center. We're going to take that right hand to the outside of the left thigh, take that little twist. And you can gently nod the head up and down, bringing a little motion into the neck. And then we untwist and take it in the other direction. Same thing here. Option to nod the head, yes. And let it be a slow nod. That full range of yes. And then untwist and return to center. Take a breath. We're going to make our way to hands and knees. We're going to do a little bit more movement, and then we're going to move into some stillness. So let's make our way to hands and knees. If you need a blanket underneath the knees because you're practicing on a hard floor, make sure you have it. Blanket, towel, 2 mats, anything to protect your knees. These are the only ones we get, so we got to be kind to them. Once we get there to our hands and knees, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Do a few rounds of cat and cow. Fill up with the inhale, arch the back. Exhale, tuck the chin, round the spine, drop the head. So as you do this cat and cow, which we do every week, make it yours, right? If you need like a super duper, I need a super duper round my spine, stay here, shift side to side, whatever it is, do it. If you want to shift your hips, just respond right now to what the body is asking for. Whether it's forward and back, side to side, whatever it is, give your body what it needs. And then return to stillness into that tabletop position. Take your time. If it takes a few breaths to get there, that's okay. Once we get there, we pause, we come to our good, solid tabletop, and we're going to come back to the humming. So we're going to inhale from here, and as we exhale, we're going to shift the hips back, come down onto the forearms, come into that child's pose with the hum. Inhale, shift forward. Might be a little bit of a cow pose here. Exhale, tuck the tail around the spine, hum. Back to child's pose. So forearms come down. And it really slows down that travel back, hips to heels. Now, the next time that you hum your way back to child's pose, I'd like you to stay there. So if that means the knees need to go a little bit wider or whatever it takes for you to be comfortable here, rest in child's pose. You can stack your palms and let your head rest on the back of the hands. Whatever it is, rest here in child's pose. And we're going to make our way back up to hands and knees. So come on back up, hands and bring those knees back underneath the hips. And we're going to move back to that side body stretch. And this time, let's take our right hand. We're going to circle it on our inhale. We're going to circle it back and up. And as we exhale, we're going to bring it down about, I'm going to say, 6 inches in front of my left hand. So here I am already. I'm in a side body stretch. And then I'm just going to pull it back. That's my exhale, bringing it back. Inhale, lift it up, circle. Exhale, plant it and pull it back. And you can, I don't know if you can or not, but my hand is actually making sound on my mat. You might hear it, you might not. And then just bring that hand back to neutral, back to tabletop, push the hips back, take a breath in child's pose again. We'll stay here for about 30 seconds. Rest here. Notice how the right side of the body might feel differently from the left side. And breathe. And then we'll make our way back up to hands and knees, back up to hands and knees, back up to hands and knees. Set up in that tabletop, put the knees underneath the hips. This time it's the left side. We reach it back and up on the inhale. As we exhale, we plant it down in front of the right hand. And you see there's just a distance, I don't know, 4 to 6 inches. And then the exhale, pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it. Inhale, circle it up. Exhale. And this time, let's just bring it back underneath the shoulder. Let's bring toes together, knees apart. Let's take it back to child's pose one last time. If you want to grab your bolster and do child's pose on your bolster, however you want to do it, we're going to be here for about 90 seconds. So rest here. Just this very gentle forward fold. In this pose, see what you can do to soften the shoulders, soften the jaw. And then we'll begin to make our way back up to hands and knees. Take your time, move slowly. And make your way to a comfortable seat. So just sit on your bottom or kneeling, whatever it is that's comfortable. We take a moment to let the glitter settle, to kind of let the body absorb what it is we just did. And then I'm going to show you where we're going. So just rest there. Grab my blocks. So where we're going is coming into a, I call this a supported chair pose. I really like this one. So we're making what I'm calling like a bunker. I've got my bolster / cushion at an angle here. My bottom's going to go here. My thighs are going to go on this. And then my feet will rest here in the space between these two blocks. Now, if you need some sort of support for the head and neck, to keep that neck happy, please make sure you have that. But here's where we're going. So if I were to stand up in this position, I'd be in chair pose, right? So that's why I call this a supported chair pose, lying down chair pose. So from here, the lower body feels pretty awesome, right? My hips are on the ground, my thighs are supported, my heels are resting on that blanket. If your legs are long enough that you don't need something under there, then you don't need to put it there. But my legs are short. So having that here for my heels is really nice there, right? This is where it belongs. Once we get the lower body set up, I would like us to take our arms out about 45 degrees from the body, palms are up. And we're going to do a little humming before we rest in this pose. And once we finish the humming, we're going to be here for about 5 minutes. So I want you, first of all, to make sure you're comfortable in this pose. So be fussy. And then we're going to get started here. So palms are up. And we're going to do just a real soft, gentle movement with the hum. We're going to inhale through the nose, and then the exhale will hum, and we're just going to turn the palms down. It's not a big move. The inhale will turn the palms back up, and then that hum will turn them down. So when you're ready. Whenever you finish your next exhale, let the palms turn back up and rest here in this pose. Again, I'm keeping track of time. I'll let you know when it's time to move again. It's time for our transition from this pose. Bring a little head motion into head and neck first, gently turning head one side to the other. And then gathering your knees. And we'll just make our way to one side or the other. Just curl up in fetal position, one side or the other. Pause there. And then when you're ready, come on up to seated. We let the glitter settle. We take a breath and notice how we feel. Okay. So we're gonna clear the mat. Clear the mat. And we're gonna make our way to our belly on the mat. We're gonna do some movement again. And then stillness. And sometimes I find that's the best way. I can relax deeper if I, a little bit of movement and then rest, and then a little bit of movement, and then maybe I can get a little deeper the next time. So we're going to try that. Coming to the belly onto the mat. We're going to work with our cobra pose. And in cobra, I'd like us to, think about lengthening rather than lifting. So don't worry about like, oh, I got to be up here. Now, worry about, I want to be as long as possible in my spine. Okay? So we're going to bring our hands underneath our shoulders, and we're going to move our hands every time. So we're just going to experiment here with our cobra. So hands underneath the shoulders. As we inhale, we lengthen into our little cobra. Inhale. And exhale, release back down. So forehead to the mat. And then bring your hands like 6 or 8 inches in front of where they just were. Inhale, lengthen. You might pull back on those hands. And exhale, release back down to the mat. Arms now moved so that they're in line with the chest. Elbows up, palms are on the ground, but my hands are off my mat even. Next inhale, lengthen the spine. This feels like a much stronger position for me. And exhale, release. And then we're going to bring those palms to the earth at the very bottom of the rib cage. Elbows are up. We inhale. This one's hard. This is my upper back doing all the work here. And exhale, release. And just pause here. We're going to bring those hands back under the shoulders. Push yourself back to a child's pose again. Rest in child's pose. From child's pose, let's walk our hands over to the right, reaching through the left fingertips, breathing into the left side of the body. And then walk back through center, extending, this time walking the hands over to the left, reaching out through right fingertips, right hips going back to right heel. And go back to center. And come on back up, hands and knees. And we're going to go back down to the belly. We're going to do the same 4 cobras, but this time we're going to use our fingertips almost like we have a cupcake underneath them and we don't want to smash the cupcake, okay? It will affect how cobra is, how cobra feels, what it looks like. So let's come down. Let's bring our hands under our shoulders in those cupcake hands, forehead to the mat, and inhale, lengthen into cobra. And exhale, release. Hands move about 6 inches ahead. Lengthen into cobra, cupcake fingers. And release. Let the hands be wide. Elbows up. They're pretty much in line with your shoulders. Let your next inhale lengthen you. And the exhale releases. And then we bring those hands back down to the bottom of the rib cage. Elbows are real close into the body. It's almost like my elbows start this lengthen. and release. Bring your hands back down to the mat underneath your shoulders. Push yourself back through hands and knees. We're going to go back into our child's pose again. It may be wonderful to bring your bolster or cushion with you. So bringing toes together, knees apart. I've got this cushion I'm bringing right between my thighs, and I'm going to drape my body down. Now, if that doesn't feel good, remember what I said about being fussy. We make adjustments, right? Maybe we lift up that cushion, and then, oh yeah, this feels a lot better, right? Turn your head in one direction. Rest here. I'm keeping track of time. I'll tell you when it's time to turn your head, but make yourself comfortable and rest in child's pose, a supported child's pose. And now let's turn our head in the other direction. And now let's begin to push ourselves up, either coming to kneeling or coming to a comfortable seat. But once we get there, we pause. We let the effects of that back bending and that forward fold become a part of us. So we're going to move to twisting now, and what I think would be a good idea, I'm always trying to keep the camera clear, but I also need props to share too. So keep your cushion or maybe your rolled up blanket to your right side. I'm just going to move it out of the way so that you can see me, and then I'm going to pull it in when I need it. So it's on my right side. I'm coming down to my back onto the mat. So we're going to work with some twisting here. Oh, yes, we are. Okay, so once you get there, hug in both knees, rock side to side, because that might just feel good all by itself. And then we'll release the right leg down on the mat. Remember, you've got your cushion, your rolled up blanket, whatever it is, on your right side. Okay. And we're going to have the left hand on top of that left knee. Mine's kind of on my shin. Actually, I'm going to put my right hand on top of it. And then that left arm goes out to the side. We can go out to the side, palm up. Let's start with palm down, perhaps. We're going to inhale here, and as we exhale, we're going to take that left knee across the body, just across the midline. It doesn't have to be real far. And then we're going to return it, okay? So we return it, cross it over, we return it. As we exhale, these next 3 times, we're going to hum. And Again, we don't have to go very far, or if we want, we can twist bigger. But let's try here. We inhale. Come back. And now this time, as we cross the knee over, we don't need to hum, but we're going to take the twist. So you might want to have that cushion, pillow, towel, whatever it is there to support you. Your right hand can rest wherever feels comfortable. The left palm can be turned up. Rest into this twist. Breathe here. Now we're going to begin the transition from this pose. So we will uncross. And we're going to extend that left leg long onto our mat. Let the toes flop open. Let the right leg toes flop open. Rest here. Notice how things feel side to side. Whether you notice sensation in the rib cage, the hips, the legs, the arms, just notice. And then you're going to want to take that support that you had on your right side, and you're going to want to move it to the left side. And then we'll hug in the right knee. Give it a squeeze, yeah. Now, the right arm goes out to the side. I like to go palm down to start with because we get a little bit more support here. And again, all we're going to do, the inhale is at center and the exhale crosses it over the midline. This does not have to be big. That hip doesn't have to lift up at this point. Or you might decide, yeah, I want to go all the way. That's your call. But we'll do 3 with our breath, with the humming, and then we'll make our way into the twist. When you're ready. Make your way into the twist after the third hum. Turn your right palm up. Find a good place to rest your left arm. And rest in this twist. Let's untwist. And extend the right leg long onto the mat, toes flop open. Let the left leg be long on the mat, toes flop open. Bring your arms so that they're below the plane of the shoulders, maybe about 45 degrees from the body, and just take a breath or two here. Notice again, sensations, whether it's the legs, the hips, the ribs, the shoulders, the arms, the head and neck. And then we'll bend both knees, put both feet onto the mat. Roll to one side, doesn't matter which, and we're going to make our way up to seated just for a moment, As little fuss as possible here. And we are ready for Shavasana. So, two choices. And the first one would be to take that cushion, that bolster, and just bring it underneath the knees. This time, with the bolsters down, we no longer have that upright angle, and the heels can rest on the ground. Head comes back and rests on either a support or onto the mat. So lying down here, palms up. Option number two is to create that ramp that we do with either blocks or rolled up blankets. And in this case, I would send the legs up the bolster. So I put my bottom on the mat at the bottom of the bolster. So my bum is on the floor. And then come down and send the legs up. This is a slight inversion. It's kind of nice. Again, arms are about 45 degrees from the body, palms are up. Now, sometimes it's nice to grab a blanket and do a little tuck in here. And that way, when the thighs rest, when those muscles finally soften, your legs won't fall off the support. They won't fall off your ramp. And that's nice because you don't have to worry about that. And sure enough, those hips can rest a little deeper. So set up however you want to. I gave you two options, but if you have something else in mind, it's all you. I'm keeping track of time. I'll let you know when it's time to move again. But for right now, rest deeply. Allow the breath to come naturally. Just be here, mind and body together here on your mat. it's time to begin our transition from this pose. So without moving, just bring your awareness back to that space where you are practicing yoga. And through the wonders of technology, we are practicing yoga together. So that's pretty awesome. Bring some motion into head and neck, turning the head from one side to the other. And then let the head and neck be still. Wiggle the fingers, turn the hands at the wrists. You can wiggle your toes and turn the feet at the ankles as well. And then we'll gather the knees in. We're going to make our way onto our right side, resting our head on our right arm like a pillow. Just take a moment right there to recall that intention that we set at the beginning of our class about an hour ago. And then when you're ready, push yourself out to a comfortable seat. Take a moment. Notice how you feel. We'll open the palms wide, arms are soft. We're going to inhale, and on this next exhale, we'll hum those palms together. Letting thumbs rest on the sternum. Thank yourself for taking time to practice yoga today, and thank you so much for allowing me to guide you. It's an honor to be with you.